Yes, good evening, Hala. Yes, Jainam, Harsh, Chirag, Ash, Usman, Osama, very good. Kiran, good evening, Islam, good evening, Beta. Just before starting with the session, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if the audio and visuals are perfectly fine. Video Hub, good evening, Beta. Video Hub, good evening. Just before starting with the session, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if the audio and visuals are perfectly fine. So yes, Ash says yes, it's like perfectly fine. Chirag, okay, Kiran, Harsh, Usman, very good. But I'm like very much fine, not bad. Yeah. So yeah, today we are going to discuss a very new bone that is the femur bone. And let us just start with the femur bone now. Let us just start with the femur bone now. Remember, beta, the femur bone, okay, when we talk about the site, and this is how you have to explain to the examiner, okay, if you are describing any bone, this should be the order, beta, in which you have to describe the way I am writing. Like in the same manner, you have to write it down along with the parts, beta. Try to explain the muscle attachments also, the ligaments also. So I will be discussing each, yes. I will be discussing each what we say parts along with the muscles and ligaments. So let us just start. Let us just start, Peter. So you already know ki yeah. Can anyone tell me where the femur bone is present? I have already discussed in the lower limb. So can anyone tell me what is the location? Okay, what is the site of the femur bone? What is the site of the femur bone? Yes, I want everyone to be like to answer in the chat box. Yes. Osama, very good. It is the thigh region. Chirag, very good, beta. It is the thigh region where the femur bone is present. So remember, beta, it is the bone of the thigh. Okay, it is the bone of the thigh. Okay, apart from that, beta, remember it is approximately, okay, it is approximately 45 centimeters long. Okay, so remember it is approximately 45 centimeters long. It is approximately 45 centimeters long. So remember it is the longest, okay, it is the longest and strongest bone of our body. It is the longest and strongest bone of our body. Okay, so it is the longest and strongest bone of our body. Now, that is about the site, beta. That is about the site. Okay, so remember, beta, this is the femur bone, and you already know it forms the hip joint. Okay, the hip joint above. Okay, the hip joint above, and yes, it forms the knee joint below. Okay, so it forms the knee joint below. So yes, knee joint below. So yes, it is the bone of the thigh. Yes, and remember, beta, and forms just at this point as well, forms hip joint above, forms hip joint above, and knee joint below, and knee joint below. It is the bone of the thigh, and it forms the, yes, hip joint above and the knee joint below. Okay, so I hope the site is clear to each and everyone. I hope the site is clear to each and everyone. So you have to remember that it is the bone of the thigh forming the hip joint above and the knee joint below. And it is the longest bone, approximately about 45 centimeters, and it is the strongest bone of our body also. Apart from that, apart from that, beta, let us now discuss with the general features. Okay, the general features, beta. So you all are aware. Yes, you all are aware. Yes. Now, when I say general features, beta, general features. Remember, beta, it is a typical long bone. Okay, it is a typical. A typical long bone means that it will fulfill all the criteria of a long bone. It will fulfill all the criteria of a long bone. When I say long bone, beta, can anyone tell me long bones are made from what? Okay, long bones are made from what, and what type of ossification it is called as? What type of ossification it is called as? So Yes, meanwhile you are commenting, I will tell you, beta, it is a typical long bone and it consists of three parts, beta. Upper end, we have the shaft. Shaft is also called as the diaphysis, beta. Shaft, it is also called as the diaphysis. And the third one, that is the lower end of the, yeah, the third one, that is the lower end of the, yeah, Arpit, very good, beta. Arpit, very good. So when I say typical long bone, beta, you should remember that it consists of the upper end. Okay, the upper end. We have the longest part of the bone, that is the shaft, and yes, the shaft is also called as the diaphysis. And we have the lower end of the bone. We have the lower end of the bone. Yes, now, when I say beta long bone it is made from cartilage. Okay, long bone it is made from the cartilage, and yes, it is the hyaline cartilage which will ossify and form this bone. So yes, yeah. So it is cartilaginous ossification that you will see. When I say typical long bone beta, when I say typical long bone, so yes, it shows cartilaginous ossification, means it is formed from which cartilage? Hyaline cartilage, and yes, later on it will ossify to form the, yeah, femur bone, right? Later on it will ossify to form the femur bone. So yes, this is the, it shows cartilaginous ossification. Typical long bone, all long bones consist of upper end, shaft, and lower end. And one more characteristic that you have to remember, beta, it shows cartilaginous ossification and it is made from the hyaline cartilage. Okay, cartilage will get converted into bone. There are two types of ossification. If you have not read it, no need to worry about that. That's a part of general anatomy. Okay, we have membranous ossification and cartilaginous ossification. Cartilaginous ossification, it is also called as enchondral ossification. Enchondral ossification. And you already know, beta, enchondral. Enchondral, N means inside, chondro. Chondro means cartilage. So it is like, it is developing from the cartilage. Okay. It is developing from the cartilage, right? So that is about the general features. I hope you all have written the site and the general features. I hope you all have written the site and the general features, right? So yes, site determination. Good evening, Sukanya. Very good, beta. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you have written the site and the general features and the general features. And you can very well see the longest part of the bone. It is the shaft. Above the shaft, we have the upper end. Okay, and below the shaft, we have the lower end of the femur. Yes, very good. Ash, Jainam, Kiran, Harsh, Amira. Very good, beta. Very good. Perfect, beta. Chalo, let us discuss one by one all the parts. Okay, one by one all the parts along with the muscles and the ligaments. And then I will come to the fact how to determine right or left. If suppose a femur bone is given to you and it is like placed in front of you on the table and the examiner asks you to identify whether it is right femur bone or whether it is left femur bone. You already know we have two femurs, right? So what are the characteristics that you will see? Okay, so, what are the points that you will keep in your mind to know identify the right or the left femur bone? So that side determination wala part I will talk after I will discuss like after I have discussed all the parts. Okay, after I have like discussed all the parts. Yes, Jinal, very good, beta. Chali, let us discuss with the upper end. Let us discuss with the upper end. So now everyone will try to make the diagram that I will show to you guys. Okay, so I'll draw for you guys. So remember, beta, you already know that suppose, yes, the upper end basically it comprises of a rounded projection. Okay, that is in the form of a sphere. Yes, a rounded projection that is in the form of a sphere, that is called as the head. Okay, that is called as the head. Yes, and we have the neck. Okay, just a moment, I'll like draw it nicely. Yeah, so you already know we have the neck part. Okay, we have the neck part, and above the neck we have this head. Okay, above the neck we have this head. So just try to draw like this. Yes, beta. Again, there will be a depression over here. There will be a depression in the head, and this depression it is called as pit or fovea. Okay, there is a depression in the head part that is called as the pit or fovea. Okay, so this is the head. Okay, this is the head, right? This is the head part. We have the neck of the femur, the neck of the femur, and this neck, okay, it is like the upper border of the neck. It is in continuous with one of the trochanters of the femur. Okay, it is in continuous with one of the trochanters and the lower border with another trochanter, right? So it is a very simple diagram, beta. It is a very simple diagram. Yes, Amina, very good. So that is the head. Head contains a small depression. एक उसमें बहुत ही हल्का सा गड्ढा देखने को मिलता है. That is called as the pit or the fovea, right, beta? So basically a blunt surface, beta, a blunt surface which you can like no see over here, that is called as the greater trochanter, a large blunt irregular surface. Okay, that is called as the greater trochanter. Okay, this is called as the greater trochanter. Okay, so remember, beta, this is the greater trochanter. Greater trochanter, and yes, on the medial side, basically it has a lesser trochanter. Okay, this is the lesser trochanter. Now, beta, you already know that this is the midline of the body. So this side will be the medial. Okay, this side will be the lateral side, and this is the anterior view. This is the anterior view. This is the anterior view. Now, if I ask you, beta, if I ask you, let lesser trochanter, it is present on which side, lateral or medial? फटाफट से डायग्राम में देख के बताओ. Lesser trochanter, it is present on which side? Yes, tell me. Lesser trochanter, it is present on which side? Yeah, you all can see, beta. This is the head part. Yes, this is the head of the femur. This is the neck of the femur, right? This is the lesser trochanter. Yes, this is the greater trochanter. Yes, everyone is right, beta. You already know the head of the femur. It is always facing medially. It is always facing medially. So one by one, we will be discussing all the parts. Okay, one by one, we will be discussing all the parts. So before that, remember, beta, there is a line. Okay, there is a line which is joining. There is a line which is joining the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter. And this line, beta, this line, it is called as the intertrochanteric line. It is called as the intertrochanteric line. Okay, this is called as the intertrochanteric line. The RS creations, good evening, beta. Intertrochanteric line. So let us just now try to, let us just try to make this in our diagram as well. So there is a line. Okay, there is a line which is joining the greater trochanter to the lesser trochanter, and this line, it is called as the intertrochanteric line. Intertrochanteric line. Now when I say, beta, intertrochanteric line, tell me in the chat box, beta, you will be able to see this in the anterior view or in the posterior view. Intertrochanteric line, it is always visible in, जब आप फीमर को आगे से देख रहे हो या फीमर को पीछे से देखोगे. Trochanter basically, beta, it is a large irregular surface area, blunt surface area बोलते हैं बेटा. ठीक है, anterior होगा. Yes, अर्पित, very good. Anterior, 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 anterior. Processes है, process बोलते हैं. ठीक है, देखो process it is a part of the bone. Okay, processes are the part of the bone. मतलब जो extra part है bone का. ठीक है, the extra part of the bone are called as process. For example, हमारी body होती है. ठीक है, for example, this is our body, and from my body these arms are coming out. ये जो arms है, forearms है, ये बाहर निकल रहे हैं. So this is actually called as processes in anatomy. Okay, and एक body होती है bone की. ठीक है, और body of the bone से कुछ bony tissue जो है वो बाहर की तरफ निकला हुआ है. That is called as processes. So you can also say this lesser trochanter, greater trochanter, processes also, right, beta? Processes भी बोल सकते हैं. No need to worry. Yes, everyone is right. So intertrochanteric line you will be able to see over here. You will be able to see over here. Apart from that, beta, this is the anterior view. If we just try to focus on the posterior view, beta, we will get some more structures. Okay, we will get more structures in the upper end. I'm just discussing the upper end, beta, right now. So you are very well aware that this is the head part. Okay, this is the head part, and this head part. Okay, this head part, it is continuous with the neck. Okay, this is continuous with the neck. Yes, and this is something that you will get in the posterior part. Yes, this is something which you will get in the posterior part. So yes, this is, yeah, very this is a line diagram beta. So just try to remember, this is the posterior view. आप फीमर को पीछे से देख रहे हैं, आपने फीमर निकाली और पीछे से देख रहे हैं कि पीछे से कैसा दिखेगा फीमर, ठीक है। आगे से तो ऐसा दिखता है, पीछे से देखो अब ये क्या हो गया, ये हेड हो गया, दिस इज द नेक पार्ट, ठीक है, ये नेक हो गया, राइट। और यू कैन वेरी वेल सी कि ये जो ग्रेटर ट्यूबरकल है, क्योंकि ग्रेटर ट्यूबरकल क्या है, लेटरली प्रेजेंट है, तो यू कैन सी ग्रेटर ट्यूबरकल ओवर हियर आल्सो, you will be able to see the greater tubercle over here also, right? Greater tubercle over here also, sorry, greater trochanter over here also. Yes, and remember beta, and remember beta, yes, you will see a crest over here. Okay, you will see a crest over here, and this crest beta. Okay, now when I say crest beta, it is different from, yeah, it is different from line. Okay, it is different from line because the crest, it is very thick. The crest, it is very thick beta, and this is called as the intertrochanteric crest. Okay, this is called as the intertrochanteric crest. Okay, from the greater tubercle to the lesser tubercle, we have the intertrochanteric. इंटर का मतलब क्या होता है, between the two trochanters, okay, the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter, intertrochanteric crest. Intertrochanteric crest will be visible in the posterior view beta, you already know. देखो, एक होता है, this is called as the simple line. Okay, if this line becomes a little thick, okay, it is called as border. Like they are synonyms, I would say. And this border, if it becomes more thick beta, it is called as crest, which is visible. Okay, which is visible. So basic understanding should be like intertrochanteric crest. So in this part, like in the upper end, we have discussed कि head होता है, neck होता है, greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, intertrochanteric line and intertrochanteric crest. Intertrochanteric crest. इतना clear है सब लोगों को? Is this clear to each and everyone? If you just want me, I will mark this for you people. If you want me, I will mark for you people. So you can see over here. You can see over here, beta. So you already know this is the posterior view. This is the posterior view. This is the posterior view. Yes, Ash, Harsh, Kiran, Jinal, Jainam, very good, beta. Usman, very good. Very good, beta. Okay. Sure. Now you can very well see beta, this is the head part, and you can see this is the fovea. Fovea या pit, देखो गड्ढा मिल रहा है इसमें देखने को, this is called as the pit or the fovea. Okay, you can see the neck part beta, you can see the greater trochanter, you can see the lesser trochanter. Lesser trochanter, it is more like posteriorly visible और medial side पे होता है. Obviously बात है बेटा, हेड जो है इट विल जॉइन विद द हिप बोन, एसिटाबुलम ऑफ द हिप बोन. तो हेड हमेशा मीडियली रहेगा, हेड हमेशा बॉडी के मिड लाइन के पास रहेगा, हेड बाहर की तरफ नहीं होता, हेड इज टुवर्ड्स द मिड लाइन ऑफ द बॉडी. So yes, remember beta, this is the neck part, and yes, this is the, yeah, if you can see this beta, this is the intertrochanteric crest. Okay, it is the intertrochanteric crest. Intertrochanteric crest. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now let us now discuss one by one all the parts of the upper end. All the parts of the upper end. Now the very first thing that you have to discuss, it is the head, and we will write in very short. Okay, all the notes should be like concise, crisp, and like easy to revise. If we talk about head beta, if we talk about head, you are very well remember that it is more than half of a sphere. More than half of a sphere. You already know बेटा sphere. आपने कॉस्को की बॉल देखी है, राइट? कॉस्को की बॉल देखी है, तो कॉस्को की बॉल या एनी बॉल बेटा, इफ यू कट दिस, ओके, तो इट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ स्फीयर. ये पूरा का पूरा क्या है? स्फीयर. और इसको आधा कट कर दो कि क्या बन जाएगा? हेमीस्फीयर. बट बेटा रिमेंबर इट इज मोर देन हाफ ऑफ अ स्फीयर. ओके, हाफ ऑफ अ स्फीयर यानी हेमीस्फीयर से थोड़ा सा ज्यादा होता है. हेमीस्फीयर से थोड़ा सा ज्यादा होता है. ठीक है, यू ऑलरेडी नो. You can see this, the shape beta, it is like, yeah, the head, it is more than half of a sphere, right? It is a spherical shape, but yeah, not completely spherical. Yeah, so remember beta, it is direction. You guys are going to tell me, beta, it is directed medially or laterally. Tell me guys in the chat box, it is directed medially or laterally, it is directed upwards or downwards, or it is directed forwards or backwards. Tell me beta fast. यस चैनम, डायरेक्शन तो सबको क्लियर हो गया है कि चलो ये तो मीडियली डायरेक्टेड है, मीडियली डायरेक्टेड है. और दूसरी बात, यस एवरीवन इज राइट, कृति वेरी गुड, इट इज अपवर्ड्स, इट इज अपवर्ड्स, ऊपर की तरफ है ना, हेड हमेशा ऊपर की तरफ होता है, रिमेंबर. सो यस, अपवर्ड्स. एंड रिमेंबर बेटा, इट इज forwards, it is little bit forward directed. Okay, forward, yes everyone is right. Ash, Kriti, very good. So it is more than half of a sphere. Direction is done, directed medially upwards and forwards. Near its center beta, near its center, remember beta, a pit or fovea is present. Okay, yes, a pit or fovea is present. A pit or fovea is present, and remember beta, this pit or fovea will give attachment to round ligament. Okay, that is very very important beta. Attachment साथ ही करने, it gives attachment to round ligament. It gives attachment to the round ligament. Okay, it gives attachment to a round ligament. That just have to remember as of now कि एक ligament attach होता है it spit or fovea से, and that is called as the round ligament. Remember beta, in the living, this head, okay, in living, the head, it is completely covered by hyaline cartilage. Okay, the head, it is completely covered by hyaline cartilage. Okay, it is completely covered by hyaline cartilage. It is completely covered by the hyaline cartilage except the fovea part, remember. And yes, the head will form a joint beta, the head will form a joint, and remember, it articulates with the acetabulum. It articulates with the acetabulum of the hip bone. And that is something which is referred to as the hip joint. Hip joint, okay? Acetabulum of the hip joint, hip bone, and it forms the hip joint. And remember beta, the hip joint, it is also called as acetabulofemoral joint. Acetabulofemoral joint, okay, because it is between the acetabulum and the femur. Okay, it is between the acetabulum and the femur. I hope the head part is clear. So again, keeping in mind the head, it is like more than half of a sphere. Near its center we have pit or fovea. Okay, near the center we have pit or fovea. Okay, over the pit or fovea, basically what ligament is attached? It is the round ligament. Okay, the head, it basically articulates with the, what we say, It is completely covered with the hyaline cartilage in the living beings, and the head articulates with the acetabulum of the hip joint, hip bone to form the hip joint, right? Acetabulo-femoral joint. I hope the head part is clear. I hope the head part is clear to each one of you, beta. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if the head part is clear. Now, now, very good. Shall let us just discuss the neck now. Let us just discuss the neck. Ash, Jinal, Jainam, Harsh, Usman. Very good, beta. Very good. Participation करते रहिए. Now coming on to the neck part, beta. Now coming on to the neck part. You already know, beta, the neck. Okay, the neck. इसकी neck जो है बेटा, remember it is 5 centimeters long. It is 5 centimeters long. The neck over here, it is 5 centimeters long. Okay, the 5 centimeters long. Okay, and remember the neck connects, okay, connects the head with shaft. The neck connects the head with the shaft. Obviously बात है, neck हेड को शाफ्ट के साथ कनेक्ट करता है, हेड को शाफ्ट के साथ कनेक्ट करता है, ठीक है. So yes, now, again, this is an important point that I will be writing it over here. Peter, remember, the neck forms an angle. The neck forms an angle of 120 degree. Okay, it can be 110 to 130 degree. It can vary. It forms an angle of 120 degree with axis of shaft. Okay, with the axis of shaft. And this is something which is called as the neck shaft angle. Okay, this is called as the neck shaft angle, and I will show you the angle beta. I will show you the angle also, no need to worry. And what is the significance of this angle? If we talk about the significance of this angle, remember beta, it the significance, remember the significance, it is to allow free movement of femur, to allow free movement of femur, okay, free movement of femur, okay, away from the pelvis, away from pelvis. पेल्विस कल बताया था ना, बोनी स्ट्रक्चर जो है 4 बोन्स का बना हुआ है, सैक्रम, कॉकिक्स और 2 जो हिप बोन्स है, इननॉमिनेट बोन्स है, उनका पेल्विस बना हुआ है. तो इट अलाउस द या फ्री मूवमेंट ऑफ दिस femur, okay, from the pelvis, away from the pelvis. If you just want beta, you can see it over here also in this particular diagram. Just we will add in our diagram. So you already know, I am just explaining you like this. This is the long axis, okay. Yeah, it is a long axis of the neck, okay, and it is the long axis of the shaft. Okay, it is the long axis of the shaft, okay. So they two are meeting at this point, and this is the angle which is created. And this is the angle which is created, which is called as the neck shaft angle, which is called as the neck shaft angle, right? So remember, it is the neck shaft angle. Okay, neck shaft angle. Apart from that, yeah, this neck shaft angle, beta, it is actually smaller in females. Okay, it is smaller in females. ये female का sign होता है. And remember, why it is smaller in females? Due to large size of pelvis. DT का मतलब है due to large size of the pelvis. Okay, due to large size of the pelvis, right? It is due to the large size of the pelvis. Okay, इतना क्लियर है सब लोगों को? इतना क्लियर हो गया? चलो. Now, this neck beta, this neck, yeah, this neck has basically, yeah, sure, pretty very good. Sure. This neck has, yeah, 2 borders and 2 surface beta. Okay, this neck has 2 borders and 2 surface. Okay, 2 borders Two borders you already know. We have the superior border, and I will show you also the superior border and the inferior border. The superior border and the inferior border. And we have two surfaces, beta. We have two surfaces, anterior surface and posterior surface. Anterior surface and posterior surface. Anterior surface and posterior surface. Now let me show this in the diagram, beta, that we have drawn. Now, beta, this, okay, okay. Remember, beta, yeah, I will take this color. Okay, this is the superior border. Okay, this is the superior border of the neck, and one which is lying down, this is the inferior border of the neck. Okay, one which is lying down, it is the inferior border of the neck. In the anterior view, beta, बेटा बॉर्डर का मतलब बॉर्डर और सरफेस में क्या फर्क होता है? व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द बॉर्डर एंड सरफेस? बॉर्डर इट इज कंसिस्टिंग ऑफ मिनिमम एरिया एंड सरफेस या इट इज लाइक मैक्सिमम एरिया. फॉर एग्जांपल यू ऑलरेडी नो इंडिया एंड चाइना. तो इंडिया का सरफेस एरिया ज्यादा है, पाकिस्तान का सरफेस एरिया ज्यादा है, बट इंडिया पाकिस्तान या इंडिया चाइना जो बॉर्डर है, ओके, दैट इज लाइक वेरी वेरी just it is like less in surface area. So surface area jahan kam hoga, that will be border, and the one which will contain more surface area, it is called as the, yeah, usko hum actual surface bolte hain. To ye kya ho jayega? Yes, you already know this will be the anterior surface, and yes, over here beta, if you will see, this is the posterior surface. This is the posterior surface, right? This is the posterior surface. So yes. So remember, beta, yeah, we have already been like discussing. So remember, this is the superior border. This is the superior border, right? This is the anterior surface of neck. And remember, this is the inferior border of the neck. Inferior border of neck. इतना समझ में आ गया सब लोगों को? And this is the posterior surface of neck. Just give me a thumbs up, beta, if it is clear to each one of you. Posterior surface of the neck. If it is clear to each one of you. Yes, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if it is clear to each one of you. Yes, Kriti, very good, beta. Very good, Kiran, very good, beta. Very good. Yeah. एंटीरियर बेटा, सुपीरियर का मतलब ऊपर, इंफीरियर का मतलब नीचे, एंटीरियर का मतलब आगे की तरफ, पोस्टीरियर मतलब पीछे की तरफ. ठीक है? सो आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. जयराम, हर्ष, ऐश, उस्मान, वेरी गुड बेटा. So remember, beta, the anterior, okay, the anterior surface, okay, it is covered by a capsule, okay, it is covered by a capsule, and remember it is intracapsular. The whole, it is covered by a capsule, and that is called as intracapsular. And posterior surface, only medial half, it is covered by capsule. Okay, the posterior surface, it is medial half which is covered by capsule. Okay, covered by capsule, covered by capsule. चलिए, बस इतना ही ध्यान रखना था इसमें, इतना ही ध्यान रखना था नेक में. सो नेक इज ऑल्सो डन. हेड हो गया, नेक हो गया. So we have discussed two parts in the upper end. We have discussed two parts in the upper end. Head and neck is done. Now coming on to the greater trochanter, beta. Greater trochanter, it is very very important. Greater trochanter, it is very very important, beta. अब muscles की बारी आएगी, अब muscles की बारी आएगी, and you should make the flow chart along with me. You should make the flow chart along with me. So remember, beta, the third part in the upper end that we have to discuss, it is the greater trochanter. Okay, greater trochanter, greater trochanter. Okay, now greater trochanter basically consists of two parts, beta. Okay, it consists of two parts. Okay, we have, yeah, I will just try to draw it also. We have three surfaces. Okay, we have three surface of the greater trochanter, right? And we have one border, okay? One border of the greater trochanter, one border of the greater trochanter, right? Now three surface and one border. Now what are those three surface, beta? What are those three surface? We will now try to see. We will draw it also, no need to worry about that. We will draw it also, absolutely no need to worry. So remember, we have the anterior surface, okay? We have the lateral surface, and we have the, yeah, medial surface, medial surface, okay? Medial surface, and this medial surface, it presents with, it presents with trochanteric fossa. It presents with trochanteric fossa. Okay, this medial surface, it presents with trochanteric fossa. Okay, and we have only one border, beta, that is called as the superior border. Okay, it is called as the superior border. It's called as the superior border. And now let us draw the diagram and now try to understand. Then I will show you in the picture also Gray's anatomy atlas. Okay, let us just try to show. Let me just try to show it to you guys. Okay, so you already know that we have this head part. Okay, we have this head part. We have the neck part. Okay, it is like very simple diagrams, but I'm just drawing for you people so that it is like way line diagrams खुद बनाओगे ना बेटा, so ज़्यादा वो नहीं होगा. Okay, so yes, so this is the greater trochanter and this is the anterior view, beta. Remember, this is the anterior view. This is the anterior view. Okay, now if I just try to focus on the posterior view, it is somewhat like this. Yeah, I'm not drawing the pit every time, but yeah, okay, I'll draw it for you. So yeah, try to draw each and every diagram with me, beta. Always carry colored pens. Okay, your shading colors, I mean pencil colors, should be there with you, right? Even if you're traveling abroad for anatomy, I would request everyone to carry pencil colors, because when I will teach, I will be like insisting much on the diagrams, beta. Okay, flowcharts and diagrams are must in anatomy, so that to make the concepts more clear. Okay, so remember, yes, this is the, yes, so you are very well aware. Now, this is something that you have to remember, beta, right? Now, now let us just try to see, beta. You already know the area which I'm highlighting over here. The area which I'm highlighting over here, it is the greater trochanter. Okay, it is the greater trochanter, and it has three surfaces. Okay, it is the greater trochanter, right? And back also you will be able to see this greater trochanter over here. Greater trochanter over here. I hope it's clear, right? So this is the greater trochanter, right? Now, beta, in the anterior view, if you will be able to see, beta, if you will be able to see over here, so yes, the surface which is lining above, okay, surface, or I would say the border, I would say the border, beta, because it is like present above, and this is something which you can see over here also, right? So this is a border which is like above, just at the apex part. And remember, beta, this is nothing but the superior border. Okay, this is the superior border of the greater trochanter. Superior border of the greater trochanter. Okay. Now we have, yes, we have the lateral surface beta. We have the lateral surface. ऑब्वियसली बात है बेटा, ऑब्वियस सी बात है कि ये अगर एंटीरियर व्यू है तो ये वाली साइड क्या हो जाएगी, मीडियल. ये वाली साइड क्या हो जाएगी, मीडियल. एंड दिस साइड विल बी द लेटरल साइड. दिस साइड विल बी द लेटरल साइड. सो द सरफेस व्हिच इज फेसिंग टुवर्ड्स द लेटरल साइड, तो वो तो लेटरल सरफेस हो गया. और एक जो बेटा आगे की तरफ आपको देखने को मिलेगा, एंड द वन बेटा विच यू विल सी इन फ्रंट, ओके, द वन विच यू विल सी इन फ्रंट बेटा, दिस सरफेस इट इज कॉल्ड एज द एंटीरियर सरफेस. आगे की तरफ जो आपको देखने को मिलेगा, दिस विल बी द एंटीरियर सरफेस, राइट, दिस विल बी द एंटीरियर सरफेस. लेटरल सरफेस तो आपको पीछे भी देखने को मिलेगा, राइट. तो एंटीरियर सरफेस इज this, which you can very well see it over here. Yeah. So this is the anterior surface. So this is the anterior surface, right? Anterior surface of the greater trochanter, right? Now coming on to the medial surface, guys, coming on to the medial surface you will see posteriorly more, okay? Medial surface you will be like seeing posteriorly more, and I will draw this with the help of a green color, okay? With the help of a green color. So yes, this is, yeah, this is the medial surface bit. Yeah. अच्छा ये ग्रीन दो बार हो गया क्या? So let us just draw it with this. Yeah. So this is the medial surface. Yes, this medial surface, it is actually presenting with a fossa. Okay, it is presenting with a fossa, and this fossa beta, which you can see over here, it is called as the trochanteric fossa. Okay, this is called as trochanteric fossa, and this surface beta, it is called as the medial surface. Medial surface. Okay, medial surface. I hope all the surface and border is clear. I hope all the surface and border is clear to each and everyone. Beta, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if it is clear to each one of you. I will show you it in the diagram as well. I will show it in you in the diagram as well if you just want to see over here, beta. So yes, this is the posterior view, and right, you can see the, yeah, you can see a fossa over here beta, and this fossa it is like present with this surface, that is the medial surface, and this fossa actually it is the intertrochanteric fossa over here. Yeah, this fossa, right, this fossa. Very good. I have got replies from Harsh, Kiran, Usman. Very good beta, very good. So yeah, you can very well see beta. Yeah, you can very well see we have the lateral surface, the lateral surface, the lateral surface beta, right? The lateral surface of the greater trochanter. Okay, you can very well see the superior border. Okay, the superior border. The superior border is in continuation with the intertrochanteric line of the greater trochanter. Superior border, medial surface, lateral surface. Okay, if you just want to see it over here, तो ये आगे तो anterior surface हो गया. So this whole beta, this whole, it is the anterior surface. आगे की तरफ है, right? And yes, over here you can see the lateral surface beta, the lateral surface which is facing laterally, one which is facing laterally, and obviously you have a fossa over here, which is like the medial surface, which is more seen on the backside, and this fossa is the intertrochanteric fossa. Intertrochanteric fossa. फोसा का मतलब क्या होता है? इट इज अ डिप्रेशन बेटा, गड्ढा. फोसा मतलब थोड़ा सा बड़ा सा गड्ढा जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं, ठीक है. सो इट इज लाइक दिस फोसा. चलो, इतना क्लियर हो गया सब लोगों को? फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो if it is clear to each and everyone. The, yeah, greater trochanter, it is clear to each and everyone. फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो चैट बॉक्स में if it is clear to each and everyone बेटा. जयनाम वेरी गुड बेटा, हर्ष वेरी गुड, ऐश वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड बेटा. चलो, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. अब आता है इस पे सबसे मुश्किल वाला काम, दैट इज द इंसर्शन ऑफ 5 मसल्स. तो इससे काम नहीं बनेगी. हम लोग हमेशा क्लिनिकली ओरिएंटेट करते हैं चीजों को, तो यू शुड ऑलवेज रिमेंबर वी हैव 5 muscles. okay, 5 muscles which are inserting, okay, which are inserting. देखो मसल्स के दो पॉइंट्स होते हैं, ठीक है, मसल्स के दो पॉइंट्स होते हैं बेटा. वन पॉइंट इट इज रेफर्ड एज ओरिजिन, ओके, और एक पॉइंट क्या होता है, इंसर्शन. और बीच में क्या होता है, बेली ऑफ द मसल, बेली ऑफ द मसल या फिर मसल फाइबर्स, ओके, द लार्ज मसल फाइबर्स विच आर प्रेजेंट इन बिटवीन, दैट इज द बेली ऑफ द मसल. तो यहाँ पे जो ये मसल्स है इनका ओरिजिन कहीं और से है, but they are coming and inserting over the greater trochanter. Okay, so remember beta, on the anterior surface, okay, on the anterior surface, yes, on the anterior surface, remember a muscle is attached over here, and that is called as gluteus minimus muscle, gluteus minimus muscle. Okay, so you are very well aware that on the anterior surface this muscle will be attached. Yes, and this is gluteus minimus muscle, gluteus minimus muscle. On the lateral surface beta, on the lateral surface, remember another muscle is attached over here, that is called as the gluteus medius muscle, that is called as the gluteus medius muscle. देखो वो मिनी मस है, ये gluteus medius muscle है. So on the lateral side beta, on the lateral side you have one muscle attached over here, okay, on the lateral surface you can see, yeah, over here we have one muscle, that is gluteus medius, gluteus medius, right? On the, yeah, medial surface we have, yes, medial surface, on the medial surface remember we have one muscle that is called as obturator, yes, obturator internus, okay, with the two gemelli, it is obturator internus muscle, okay. And the trochanteric fossa, basically we have obturator externus muscle, obturator externus muscle. The name will be difficult beta, but it's the easiest way to learn right now. Okay, I will be discussing the muscles in detail, so no need to worry, but at least you should remember कि जब मैं इंसर्शन बोलूं तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि ये मसल यहाँ पे इंसर्ट हो रही है, ठीक है. तो medial surface, if you can see over here, this medial surface, it is also containing one muscle, and this muscle, it is obturator internus, obturator internus muscle. And yes, remember beta, the trochanteric fossa, the trochanteric fossa, it will also contain one insertion of muscle that is called as the obturator externus, obturator externus muscle, externus muscle, right? After that, remember the superior border beta, the superior border, it will again contain one insertion of muscle, and that is piriformis muscle, that is piriformis muscle, दैट इज पायरिफॉर्मिस. तो ये है सुपीरियर बॉर्डर, ये है सुपीरियर बॉर्डर, तो यहीं पर मसल अटैच होती है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द पायरिफॉर्मिस मसल, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द पायरिफॉर्मिस मसल, that is called as the piriformis muscle. I hope this is clear to each one of you beta. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if it is clear to each one of you. The greater trochanter, if it is clear to each one of you beta. Jainam, Harsh, very good beta, very good, very good. Yeah, Kiran, very good beta, very good. I hope it is clear. Ash, Kriti, very good, very good beta. So remember beta, बाकी सब भी reply दे दिया करो, so that it gives me, yeah. So in the upper end beta, till now in the upper end we have discussed about the head. Okay, we have discussed about the head, all the all the parts. No, not only just the parts. We have discussed about the ligament, the cartilage which is attached, the joint which it is forming, the neck, the capsule surface, borders, and everything. And we have discussed about the greater trochanter. Now, beta, we will be discussing about the lesser trochanter. The lesser trochanter, and you already know in the lesser trochanter you don't have to much really write it down in the notes. So just mention one point over here. Yeah. So yeah, the lesser trochanter. Yeah, the lesser trochanter. The lesser trochanter beta, remember it faces backwards and medial. It faces backwards. Obviously बात है पीछे की तरफ है ज्यादा और medial side पे. अगर तुम नॉर्मल पोजीशन देखते हो तो मैंने तुम लोग को बताया कि ग्रेटर ट्रोकैंटर कुछ यहाँ लोकेटेड है, ठीक है। So yes, it is the greater trochanter which faces backwards and the medial, backwards and medial. And remember, beta, it gives insertion to one of the muscles, and that you again have to remember it is iliopsoas tendon, iliopsoas tendon. और ये क्या होती है? इंसर्शन, इंसर्शन। बेटा टेंडन और मसल में क्या फर्क होता है बेटा? फॉर एग्जांपल ये बोन है, ठीक है, ये बोन है और ये है मसल, muscle. So the muscle is attached to the bone with the help of tendon. Muscle is attached to the bone with the help of a tendon. And you guys are very well aware कि tendon does not have the property of contraction. सिर्फ muscle में ही contraction की property होती है. Tendon cells don't have the property of contraction. If you make your hand like claw like this, you can see these rod-like structures. Beta, these are tendons only. These are tendons only. You can feel it on your own body. So that is about the greater trochanter, lesser trochanter done. The four parts are done. Now, guys, coming on to the intertrochanteric line. Okay, coming on to the intertrochanteric line. Yes. The fifth part that we have to discuss over here, yes, it is the intertrochanteric line. Intertrochanteric line. Now I have a question to everyone over here. This trochanteric line, it is seen in which view and it is present between what? It is seen in which view and it is present between what? I want everyone to answer this question. I want everyone to answer this question. Kriti, very good बेटा. Intertrochanteric line. आप खुद देखिए बेटा, ये आगे की तरफ प्रेजेंट है ना. अगर मैं ये वाली लाइन की बात कर रहा हूं बेटा, दिस इज इंटरट्रोकैंट्रिक लाइन. इंटरट्रोकैंट्रिक क्रेस्ट बेटा पीछे की तरफ होता है. इंटरट्रोकैंट्रिक क्रेस्ट बेटा पीछे की तरफ होता है. यस चिराग जैनाम, ये जो क्रेस्ट है, क्रेस्ट पीछे की तरफ होता है. पोस्टीरियर व्यू में देखिएगा आगे की तरफ एक लाइन दिखती है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इंटरट्रोकैंट्रिक लाइन. आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द लाइन एंड द क्रेस्ट बेटा. द लाइन एंड द क्रेस्ट, राइट राइट बेटा. चलो समझ आया सब कुछ. चलो ठीक, वेरी very good. So now coming on to the intertrochanteric line beta. Okay, so remember beta, this line, okay, it is a rough line. Okay, it is a rough line joining greater and lesser trochanter, greater and lesser trochanter, greater and lesser trochanter anteriorly. Okay, it is a rough line joining the greater and lesser trochanter anteriorly, and you already know it will give like insertion to four things. Okay, attachments to four things. Okay, so we have two origins, okay, of two muscles, and we have two like, yes, what to say, yeah, we have two ligaments which are attached over here. So remember beta, if we just try to follow the diagram beta, I will insist everyone to know yes. So remember beta, this is the lesser trochanter and this is the greater trochanter, and this is a rough line which is joining the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter. This is the anterior view. This is the anterior view, and this line beta, it is called as the intertrochanteric. Inter का मतलब होता है दो trochanter के बीच में. Intertrochanteric line. Intertrochanteric line. It is called as the intertrochanteric line. Now beta, now just see over here beta. Now what is actually attached over here beta? Just focus over here that it gives attachment to. Okay, now there are four things that you have to remember. So yes, attachments are important. Everywhere attachments are important. So the first one beta that you have to remember over here, it will give attachment to the fibrous capsule. Okay, these are fibrous thread-like structures. These are the fibrous capsule of hip joint. Fibrous capsule of the hip joint. I will tell you over here also. We have ilio. Okay, we have iliofemoral ligament. Iliofemoral ligament. Now you guys are going to tell me iliofemoral ligament will be present between which two bones? Iliofemoral ligament will be present between which two bones बेटा? फटाफट से आंसर बताओ इसका. फटाफट से आंसर बताओ. Iliofemoral ligament will be present between which two bones? The third one beta, remember it is giving origin to, okay, yeah, from its lower end, ilium and femur. Very good कृति. Obviously बात है बेटा, नाम में देखो ना, ilium और femur. ilium किस बोन का पार्ट है? हिप बोन का पार्ट है. yes, ilium बेटा, इश्कियम नहीं होगा बेटा, ilium. Iliofemoral है ना चिराग. वेरी गुड बेटा, it is ilium and femur. From its lower part बेटा, from its lower part, okay, from its lower part or lower end, okay, it will give origin to, yes, gives origin to superior part of vastus medialis muscle. Vastus medialis muscle. Beta, just remember we have three vastus in the thigh region, three vastus muscle in the thigh region. Okay, we have vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and vastus intermedius. Okay, intermedius. So superior part of vastus medialis muscle, and remember from its upper end, beta, from its upper end, remember it will give origin to, yes, we have superior part of vastus lateralis muscle. Vastus lateralis muscle. Superior part of the vastus lateralis muscle. Superior part of the vastus lateralis muscle. Now, beta, if I just want to tell you over here, beta, if I just want to tell you in this picture over here. So, yes, remember, beta, from the superior part, okay, from the superior part, okay, of this trochanteric line, okay, there will be a muscle which will be originating from the superior part, okay, and remember this muscle which is originating from the intertrochanteric line superior part, this is vastus. देखो बेटा lateral side पर है ना, lateral side पर है और ये medial side पर है, तो vastus क्या हो जाएगा? lateralis. vastus lateralis. ठीक है, vastus lateralis. From, yes, yes, I hope this is clear to each one of you. I hope this is clear to. vastus lateralis muscle हो गया, ठीक है, vastus lateralis muscle हो गया. इसी की इस तरफ से जो मीडियल साइड पे ओरिजिनेट आएगी मसल, दिस इज द, यस, vastus medialis. Vastus medialis from the lower end, beta, vastus medialis, yeah, from its lower part or end, okay, lower part से vastus medialis, upper part से vastus lateralis, okay. Apart from that we have fibrous, yes, we have two, yeah, if you want I'll just yeah, draw this. Remember beta, we have, yes, the two ligaments which are like originating from over here only. So remember beta, this one, we have the fibrous capsule of the hip joint, okay, so this is fibrous capsule of the hip joint. I am like saving my time, it is a fibrous capsule. और ये वाला जो blue वाला है बेटा, remember it is the iliofemoral ligament. It is the iliofemoral ligament. It is the iliofemoral ligament. Yes, intertrochanteric line बेटा, upper end lateral side से, superior part of vastus lateralis. इसी intertrochanteric line lower part से, okay, on the medial side vastus medialis, and we have two, one ligament, iliofemoral ligament between the the ilium bone and the femoral bone, and we have the fibrous capsule of the hip joint. The fibrous capsule of the hip joint. I hope the intertrochanteric line and the attachments are clear. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, beta, if the intertrochanteric line and the the attachments are clear. जल्दी से बताओ, जल्दी 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 जल्दी. वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. इंटरट्रोकैंट्रिक लाइन आगे होती है तो इंटीरियर व्यू में ही होगा. एश जीनल, वेरी गुड बेटा. एश जीनल, वेरी गुड बेटा. ओके, परफेक्ट परफेक्ट. हर्ष, किरण, उस्मान, वेरी गुड बेटा. परफेक्ट परफेक्ट बेटा. अब एक लास्ट पार्ट और हम लोग डिस्कस कर लेते हैं, दैट इज इंटरट्रोकैंट्रिक क्रेस्ट. उस्मान, वेरी गुड. बाकी सभी रिप्लाई दे दिया करो. नाउ वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट द इंटरट्रोकैंट्रिक क्रेस्ट. That is the sixth part that I want to discuss with you. Yes, that I want to discuss with you. That is intertrochanteric crest. अब बताओ बेटा, intertrochanteric crest will be present on which view? I mean, on which surface it will be there? Like intertrochanteric crest. Intertrochanteric crest. Yes, intertrochanteric. Very good, Kriti. Very good, Chenam. Very good, Chinal. Very good, Usman. Very good, beta. I have already told you, beta. If suppose this is the head part, if suppose this is the head part, this is the neck of the femur, right? Then you already are aware of the fact that this is the part, okay, and this is like a line which is joining the a thick line which is joining, okay, a thick line which is joining this greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter posteriorly. So remember beta, this is this is the medial side because head हमेशा medial होता है और ये lateral हो गया, and this is the intertrochanteric crest. Intertrochanteric crest. Intertrochanteric crest, and you are very well aware this is the posterior view beta. This is the posterior view. This is the posterior view. Okay, and yes, this intertrochanteric crest, it is a rough line. Okay, remember beta, it is a rough line. It is a rough line joining joining greater and lesser trochanters. Okay, joining greater and lesser trochanters. Right, joining greater and lesser trochanters, and it is posteriorly. It is posteriorly. Now remember beta, intertrochanteric crest will show a prominence. Okay, it shows a prominence. Okay, it shows a prominence, and remember that prominence, it is called as the quadrate tubercle. Quadrate tubercle. Quadrate tubercle, and this will give attachment to one of the muscles. Yes, and that is quadratus femoris muscle. So there is insertion to, remember there is insertion to quadratus femoris muscle. One muscle will come and insert over here, that is quadratus femoris muscle. अब पहले देखो ये quadrate tubercle बिल्कुल midline में होता है. It is just present, this quadrate tubercle beta. Okay, it is just present in the midline. So this is the quadrate tubercle, which I'm just trying to show. It is tubercle is actually a rounded projection, but it's having like 4 sides. Okay, the smooth projections over here. Sorry. Yeah, this is the quadrate tubercle in the midline of the intertrochanteric crest, and to this basically a muscle will be attached beta. To this basically a muscle will be attached, and this muscle beta, it is the quadratus femoris muscle. It is the quadratus femoris muscle. I hope this is clear to each one of you. I hope this is clear to each one of you. So remember beta, we have discussed the upper end. Okay, we have discussed the upper end. So remember beta, the upper end basically comprises of the head, neck, greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, intertrochanteric line, intertrochanteric intertrochanteric line, and we have intertrochanteric crest. Intertrochanteric crest. Yes, all the six parts. All the six parts. I hope it is clear to each one of you. I hope all the six parts that we have discussed, along with the insertion, ligaments, joints, everything I have discussed, muscles, सबको discuss कर दिया है. So upper end, it is like completed from my side. I hope you all are able to see the surface, borders and everything. Pretty very good, Jenam, very good, beta. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. And beta देखो intertrochanteric crest है. यही एक tubercle present होता है. That is called as the, yeah, it is called as the, you already know, quadrate tubercle. Yes, Usman, Ash, very good. Quadrate tubercle. Okay, quadrate tubercle. Sure. Very good, beta. So that is about the attachment parts. I'll share the PPT with you guys, right? I will share the PPT with you guys. So yes, now coming on to the, okay, labelings, we'll do it later on. Now coming on to the shaft region. So I hope everyone is ready for the shaft. Upper end, it is clear to each one of you. I suppose all the things are like concised in 1, 2, 3 slides, right? So I hope it's clear, everyone. Now we will discuss about the shaft. Shaft is the long part of the bone, right? Shaft is the long part of the bone, and shaft is like a very easy part to discuss. और इसमें थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाएंगे, डायग्राम बनाएंगे तो क्लियर हो जाएगा. तो शाफ्ट स्टार्ट करते हैं. शाफ्ट, लेट अस स्टार्ट विद द शाफ्ट. ओके, सो रिमेंबर बेटा, शाफ्ट तीन पार्ट्स होते हैं ना बोन के. द शाफ्ट, रिमेंबर, इट इज convex forwards. It is convex forwards and it is the long part of the bone. Shaft का मतलब पता है, ये long part of the bone है. Yes, Usman, I will share it, beta. I will share it today. No need to worry. I will, after the class, I will share it. Absolutely no need to worry. It is convex forwards. Okay, basically it is to throw the line of the body weight, beta, okay, in front of the knee, just to keep it passively extended. Okay, that is why it is like convex forwards. No need to know in detail. कॉन्वेक्स बेटा पता ही है ना. कॉन्वेक्स का मतलब देखो ये क्या होता है, कॉनकेव. जो केव लाइन बनाता है ये हो गया कॉनकेव, और इसकी अपोजिट वाली सरफेस क्या हो जाएगी, कॉन्वेक्स. तो ये कॉन्वेक्स होता है. ओके, इट इज कॉन्वेक्स फॉरवर्ड्स या एंटीरियर. फॉरवर्ड को एंटीरियर भी बोलते हैं ना. इट इज कॉन्वेक्स एंटीरियरली. It is convex anteriorly, right? It is convex anteriorly. Now this shaft, beta, agar I'm just trying to draw the shaft, I will not draw each and every diagram again and again. So yes, you have to be very much clear, beta. Yes, this is the shaft. Yes, the shaft, it is divided into 3 regions. Okay, it is divided into 3 regions. We have upper 1/3. I will be discussing like this: upper 1/3, okay, middle 1/3, middle 1/3, and we have lower 1/3. We have lower 1/3. So I have divided the shaft region into 3 parts. Okay, I have divided the shaft region into 3 parts. I have done this because of a purpose. Okay, I have done this because of a reason. So yes, yes, beta. So I have done this because of a reason. I have like divided it into 3 parts. Okay, I have divided it into 3 parts. So you already know we have the head part, right? Head hai, neck hai, and we already know we have this. Yes. So yes, I'm not drawing it again and again, but yeah, you have to remember that this is the, yeah, the anterior view, which I'm just trying to show you over here. This is the anterior view, beta. This is the anterior view. Anterior view. Okay, this is the anterior view. Yeah. Now this shaft, okay, this shaft, let us just discuss in the form of a flow chart right now. Yeah. Remember, beta, the middle 1/3 first I will be discussing. The middle 1/3, it is easy and like very easy to understand. Okay, the middle 1/3, okay, it is divided into, okay, it is divided into Yeah, 3 borders and 3 surface. Okay, it is divided into 3 borders and 3 surface. Okay, we have 3 borders and 3 surface. 3 surfaces. 3 surfaces. बेटा रिमेंबर बेटा बॉर्डर और सरफेस का बेसिक डिफरेंस जो है मैंने आप लोगों को बताया था कि बॉर्डर इज जस्ट अ स्ट्रेट लाइन राइट, और सरफेस में एरिया ज्यादा होता है, बॉर्डर में एरिया कम होगा। बहुत ही लेमैन्स की लैंग्वेज में सरफेस बॉर्डर में एरिया कम होगा, सरफेस में एरिया बहुत ज्यादा होगा। ठीक है, नाउ लेट अस जस्ट गिव मी अ क्रॉस सेक्शन ओवर हियर। इफ आई जस्ट ट्राई टू कट दिस from middle, okay, if I just try to cut this from middle, what I will see beta, what I will see beta, you are very well aware that we have 3 borders beta, 3 borders. Remember, this is the medial side, this is the medial side, this is the lateral side. So one border, it is called as the medial border, okay, that is common to everyone. This is the medial border. Okay, this is the medial border, right? This one will be the lateral border. This one, which is towards the lateral side, it will be the lateral border. And one border will be behind. Okay, and one border will be behind. And remember, beta, if I just try to draw this, okay, if I just try to draw this, okay, let me just draw this. Yes. Yes. So remember, this is the posterior view which I'm just trying to show you. Okay. So remember, we have one border behind also beta, and that border it is, yeah, that border it is the posterior border. So yes, it is just behind. Yeah, it is the posterior border. Posterior border, or we call it a special name that is called as linea aspera. Linea aspera. Linea aspera. Okay, linea aspera. So remember beta, we have already told about like these 3 borders. Okay, these 3 borders. So we have the medial border, we have the lateral border, and we have the border like posteriorly. So yet, yes, it is called as the posterior border. Posterior border. Up. You guys will tell me the surfaces now. Better. You guys will tell me the surfaces now. For example, this is the medial border. This is the, yes, medial border. Okay, this is the medial border. This is the lateral border, and behind beta. I'm just taking one point from here. I took 1 point from here. I took 1 point from here, and 1 point of the posterior border. This is the posterior border. Posterior border, or we call it linea aspera. Okay, or linea aspera. Aspera. So remember, beta, the area. Okay, the area. Okay, the area between the anterior and sorry, the lateral and the medial border, ये आगे की तरफ कौन सा एरिया होगा बेटा? टेल मी इन द चैट बॉक्स, इट इज विच व्यू? एंटीरियर व्यू। तो ये कौन सा सरफेस होगा बेटा विच आई हैव ड्रॉन राइट नाउ? टेल मी विच सरफेस विल इट बी? टेल मी विच सरफेस इट विल बी? टेल मी ये अभी जो मैंने सरफेस बनाया इसका नाम बताओ। इट इज एंटीरियर सरफेस। यस, between the medial border and the lateral border we have the anterior surface. Okay, between the lateral border and the posterior border, lateral और posterior के बीच में, yes बेटा, we have this lateral surface. ये कौन सा surface हो जाएगा? lateral surface और पोस्टीरियर बॉर्डर और मीडियल बॉर्डर के बीच में बेटा we have the medial surface. We have the medial surface. Medial surface. Yes, everyone is right. Right. So beta, you have to keep in mind we have three surfaces. Medial और lateral के बीच में we have the anterior surface. Anterior surface. Between the lateral and the posterior border, we have lateral surface. Okay, and between the posterior border and the medial border, we have the medial surface. इतना क्लियर है सब लोगों को? इतना क्लियर है सब लोगों को? फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो कि हमें मिडिल पार्ट ऑफ द शाफ्ट में बॉर्डर्स और सरफेस समझ में आ गए। मिडिल पार्ट ऑफ द शाफ्ट में बॉर्डर्स और सरफेस समझ में आ गए। चलो चलो, वेरी गुड बेटा। चलो, जयनाम, जीनल, ऐश, वेरी गुड बेटा। एक बोन पूरी सीख लोगे, प्लीज बी इन द क्लास बेटा। किरण, वेरी गुड, एक बोन पूरी अच्छे से आ जाएगी जल्दी से, बिल्कुल, क्योंकि मैं तो सारा कुछ इसमें अटैचमेंट्स वगैरह सब बता रहा हूँ। सो यस, इसलिए थोड़ा टाइम लग रहा है, बट बिलीव मी गाइस, वंस यू गो थ्रू विद द नोट्स, दीस आर लाइक द वेरी फाइन, मतलब जो कहते हैं ना बिल्कुल छान के निकाला हुआ है, वो वाला हिसाब है यहाँ पे। ठीक है, सो यस, एवरीवन इज राइट। सो now I have to discuss a little bit about the linea aspera. Linea aspera beta, you are very well aware beta. Okay, let us just try to draw the posterior view now. Okay, because the posterior border, it is actually called as the linea aspera. So yeah, the posterior border, it is actually called as the linea aspera. So yes, this is the posterior view. This is the posterior view beta. I have to just give you a brief intro about this. I have to just give you a brief intro. Yes, this is, for example, suppose this is the middle third. Okay, this is the middle third. This is the middle 1/3. This is, yes, this is the upper 1/3, and we have the lower 1/3. Lower 1/3. Now beta, what is happening? If you can see, if I just want to draw the, this is, this is the posterior border, which I'm just trying to draw it right now. Now this is the posterior border. Now this posterior border beta, if you see clearly, I'm drawing it very thick. I'm drawing it very thick. So remember beta, this posterior border, okay, this posterior border, it is having two lips, okay. This posterior border, it is having two lips. Now this is the medial side and this is the lateral side, because ये posterior view है. So this is actually the linea aspera. Okay, ये तो linea aspera है, ये तो clear है, ये सबको posterior border को ही linea aspera बोलते हैं. So yes, this is the posterior border, or it is also called as the linea aspera. Linea aspera, right? This is posterior border, or also called as the linea aspera. Now this posterior border has two lips, and you are going to tell me which lip is this, medial or lateral, and which lip is this, medial or lateral. चलो फटाफट से बता दो कि ये A क्या है और ये B क्या है. चलो फटाफट से बता दो ये A क्या है और B क्या है. चलो आज क्वेश्चंस मैंने बहुत कम पूछे हैं, फटाफट से बताओ ये A क्या है और B क्या है. चलो कौन सी लिप होगी ये. यस, A, it is the medial lip. It is the medial lip. Yes, very good Jainam, very good Kriti, very good beta. It is the lateral lip. जो lateral side पे वो lateral lip होगा. ठीक है, orientation ध्यान रखेंगे. So posterior border has two lips, medial lip and the lateral lip. तो इसको flow chart में add कर लेना बेटा कि posterior border has two lips. Okay, medial lip and lateral lip. medial lip and lateral lip, right? Medial lip and lateral lip. Yes, yes, everyone is right. Medial lip and lateral lip. Now, beta, this medial lip and the lateral lip, okay? Now, the medial lip of the linea aspera, okay, in the upper one third, it will extend up, okay, it will be extending up, forming the spiral line, okay, forming the spiral line which is going towards the intertrochanteric crest and the greater lesser trochanter. So this medial lip will be like okay, of the linea aspera will be extending up to form the spiral line. Okay, this is the spiral line. Okay, and the lateral lip in the upper part. Okay, the lateral lip, it is continuous with the gluteal tuberosity. Okay, there is a tuberosity. I have not discussed this beta. There is a tuberosity over here on the posterior part that is called as the gluteal tuberosity. Gluteal tuberosity. Tuberosity का मतलब बेटा क्या होता है? You already know कि tuberosity is a large rounded projection, right? Large rounded projection of the bone. So this is the spiral line, and this is like, yeah, it is the lateral lip only. The lateral lip only. The spiral line, it is the medial lip only. And these medial and lateral lip is enclosing a surface in between. It is enclosing a surface in between beta in the upper part, and this surface, it is termed as posterior surface, and this surface, it is termed as posterior surface. Posterior surface. Posterior surface. Okay, and this posterior surface, it is, yeah, present in, okay. नाउ पोस्टीरियर सरफेस अलग से आ गया. अगर मैं अपर हाफ की बात करूं बेटा, चलो, अगर मैं अपर हाफ की बात करूं तो अपर हाफ में we have three borders. Okay, borders will remain the same, but now surfaces will become four. और four कैसे हो गए? तुम लोग को पता है ये posterior surface अलग से आ गया. Posterior surface क्यों बना? Why this posterior surface is being formed? Because the medial and the lateral lip, they bifurcate. Okay, they split into two parts, creating a surface on the posterior side, and that is why it is called as the posterior surface. So upper half will have three borders beta. Three borders, you already know. We have the medial border, the lateral border, okay, the medial border, the lateral border, and the posterior border. But four surfaces will be lateral surface, medial surface, anterior surface, and we will have posterior surface over here. We will have posterior surface over here. Is this point clear to everyone over here beta कि upper half में posterior surface present होगा? Upper half में posterior surface present होगा, right? And how this posterior surface is created? ये border ऊपर जाके split कर गया, ये border ऊपर जाकर split कर गया, and that is the reason why it is like having the posterior surface. Okay, in the lower part also this border will split. Okay, this border will split in the lower part. Okay, this border will split in the lower part, forming, yeah, forming the, yes, it will split in the lower part beta. Jainam, Harsh, Chinal, Kiran, very good beta. Forming the medial supracondylar ridge, forming the medial supracondylar ridge, okay, forming the medial supracondylar ridge and the lateral supracondylar ridge, lateral supracondylar ridge. अब देखो नाम बहुत डिफिकल्ट है इसका, मीडियल लिप ही है which will continue as the medial supracondylar. देखो लेटरल साइड तो लेटरल हो गया, चलो सुप्रा का मतलब होता है सुपीरियर, condyles मतलब condyles you will see in the lower part of the femur. Okay, condyles you will see in the lower part of the femur. Can you see these condyles बेटा? इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं condyles. Okay, condyles. Okay, expanded portion of the bone at the end. देखो कंडाइल का मतलब क्या होता है? एक्सपैंडेड पोर्शन ऑफ द बोन. फॉर एग्जांपल ये बोन स्ट्रेट जा रही है, ठीक है, ये बोन स्ट्रेट जा रही है, और अगर इसके एक्सपैंडेड पोर्शंस दिख जाए एंड पे तो इसको हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? कॉन्डाइल. क्या बोलते हैं? कॉन्डाइल. तो ऑब्वियसली बात है ये जो लाइन है वो कॉन्डाइल के ऊपर है, इट इज सुपीरियर टू कॉन्डाइल. और लाइन को हमेशा क्या बोलते हैं? रिज. रिज और लाइन आर लाइक सिनोनिम्स. रिज और लाइन आर लाइक सिनोनिम्स. So we have medial supracondylar ridge and lateral supracondylar ridge. So lower half may be beta, lower half of shaft, okay, lower one third of shaft, sorry, upper one third likh lena, lower one third of shaft also you will get like three borders, and we have four surface. And beta, the surface over here, it is given a specific name. Yes, the surface over here, yes, it is given a specific name that is called as the popliteal surface. Beta. That is called as the popliteal surface, right? So yes, sorry, popliteal बोलो, patellar surface होगा बेटा, ठीक है? हाँ, sorry, popliteal ही है वो. हाँ, so we have like three borders, beta. Okay, we have three borders. You already know the medial border, the lateral border, and the posterior border. That is the linea aspera. And four surface, beta. Yes, this surface is this, beta. If you want, I'll just highlight it over here. It is between the medial and the lateral supracondylar ridge. On medial or lateral supracondylar ridge, basically the medial supracondylar ridge, it is a continuation of medial lip only of the posterior border, and the lateral supracondylar ridge, it is the continuation of the lateral lip of the linea aspera. Okay, so four surfaces, beta, four surfaces you should know over here. Four surfaces you should know over here, and that is, yeah, the lateral surface, medial surface, anterior surface, and posterior surface. Posterior surface. So, okay, posterior surface. Everyone, I want an answer in the chat box, beta. Posterior surface, it is present, it is absent in which region of the shaft? Posterior surface, it is absent in which region of the shaft? Chalo, answer batao. Jainam, Jinal, Harsh, very good, beta. In the middle of the shaft, it is absent. In the middle of the shaft, it is absent. So shaft, I have already discussed, beta. It has like divided into upper, middle, and lower. Upper and lower will have four surface and three borders. Middle will have three borders and three surface. And about the linea aspera. Now attachments. Now coming on to the attachments, guys. Attachments समझने के लिए ये diagram बना लो. This diagram is like more than sufficient for the attachments. Attachments, okay, to the shaft of femur. मसल्स तो पढ़नी है ना बेटा, मसल्स तो पढ़नी ही पड़ेंगी, उसका कोई वो नहीं है, रिप्लेसमेंट नहीं है. तो अब फटाफट से इसके मसल्स बनाएंगे. तो ऑब्वियसली बात है कि बहुत ही पहले लेमैन डायग्राम बना लेते कि या यू ऑलरेडी नो बेटा, दिस इज, लेट अस सपोज, yes, this is the medial surface, okay, sorry, the medial border, and this is the, yeah, the lateral side, or just you can medial border लिख लो. चलो इसको ना medial surface करते हैं, medial surface, and we have the lateral surface, right? तो ये ब्लैक वाली लाइन जो है, इट इज डिनोटिंग द लेटरल सरफेस एज ऑफ नाउ, और ये मीडियल सरफेस. अब मैं 1D में तो ऐसे ही दिखा पाऊंगा, ठीक है. और अगर मैं दो वो बना दूं, यू ऑलरेडी नो कि वी हैव, या we have this posterior border, yes, this posterior border which is having two lips, and these lips are like splitting. So this is the medial lip of linea aspera, और linea aspera को ही हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, posterior border, right? Linea aspera, it is called as the posterior border, right? And we have the lateral lip of the posterior border, okay? The lateral lip lip of linea aspera, and it is a posterior border only. So we have two lips, right? We have two lips. Now, on the lateral surface beta, there is a muscle which is attached on the lateral surface, and this muscle which is attached on the lateral surface of the femur bone, this is named as, yeah, this muscle which is attached on the lateral surface of the femur bone. Yes, remember this muscle, it is named as, yes, vastus intermedialis. Yes, this is vastus intermedialis. Okay, intermedialis. Now remember, beta, this vastus intermedialis, it is not attaching to linea aspera. It is not attaching to linea aspera. Okay, it is not attaching to the linea aspera. So remember, it is vastus intermedialis. Okay, on the lateral lip. Okay, on the lateral lip, beta. This is the easiest way I can teach you. On the lateral lip, beta. Yes, a muscle is attached on the lateral lip, and this muscle which is attached on the lateral lip, beta. Yes, it is called as vastus. Yes, this is called as vastus lateralis. Lateral lip पर है तो नाम हो जाएगा vastus lateralis. Okay, and the muscle will be attached to the medial lip. The muscle which will be attached to the medial lip, that is called as vastus medialis. Okay, this is called as, yeah, this is called as vastus medialis. ठीक है, तो अभी तक मैंने तीन मसल बता दी तुम लोग को लेटरल सरफेस पर. ओके, लेटरल सरफेस पर. ओके, लेटरल सरफेस पे वास्टस इंटरमीडियालिस. ओके, इंटरमीडियस. लेटरल लिप of the posterior border, it is vastus lateralis, and vastus medialis on the medial lip of the linea aspera. Medial lip of the linea aspera. इतना clear है? In between beta, in between we have one more muscle. Okay, in between we have one more muscle which is like passing in between these lips, and this muscle beta, I'm drawing it with green color, but this is a muscle only. This is a muscle only. And remember, this muscle, it is called as adductor magnus muscle. Okay, it is called as adductor magnus muscle. Adductor magnus muscle. Adductor magnus muscle. Okay, adductor magnus muscle. Now, between the adductor magnus, okay, between the adductor magnus and the vastus lateralis beta, between the adductor magnus and vastus lateralis, a muscle which is attaching to the gluteal tuberosity also. Okay, the gluteal tuberosity, it is gluteus maximus. Gluteus maximus. Okay, and below it there will be one more muscle which is like in between the adductor magnus and the vastus lateralis, and this muscle which is in between, it is short head of biceps. Short head of biceps femoris. Okay, it is short head of biceps femoris, and remember, it is originating from here. Remember, it is originating from here. Now all the muscles, even the vastus lateralis, vastus intermedialis, O means origin, O means origin, short head. Okay, the adductor magnus, it is an insertion beta. Adductor magnus, it is an insertion. Vastus medialis is again an origin. Okay, so I hope till now it is clear. I hope till now it is clear. Now, short head of biceps femoris, it is between which two muscles? I want everyone to answer in the chat box. Short head of biceps femoris, It is from the linea aspera only. ये सारा linea aspera से है, but it is between which two muscles बेटा? चलो फटाफट से आंसर दे दो, फटाफट से आंसर दे दो. It is between which two muscles? कौन कौन से मसल के बीच में बेटा, फटाफट से बताओ. या शॉर्ट हेड ऑफ बाइसेप्स फेमोरिस, वास्टस लेटरालिस एंड yes, adductor magnus. Very good, Ash. Very good बेटा, very good, very good. हर्ष, very good बेटा. वास्टस लेटरालिस है और या adductor magnus है. हाँ ये भी ठीक है. तुमने वास्टस लेटरालिस वास्टस मीडियालिस बोला जीनल, बट बेटा अगर बहुत ही क्लियर कट आइडेंटिफिकेशन पूछूं तो ये देखो अडक्टर मैग्नस, वास्टस मीडियालिस और लेटरालिस के बीच में तो सारे ये अडक्टर मैग्नस भी है. तो हाँ वो भी उस तरीके से भी ठीक है मतलब, बट स्पेसिफिकली अगर पूछा जाए तो ये वाला पार्ट तुम्हें पता होना चाहिए. ठीक है, ये वाला पार्ट तुम्हें पता होना चाहिए. मैं बैटरी यूज कर रहा हूँ. ओ नाउ या now now beta, between the adductor magnus muscle and the medial lip, basically we have two more muscles beta that you have to remember. We have two more muscles. Yeah, one muscle above and one muscle below. These two muscles which I have drawn with yellow color, right, with yellow highlighter. Remember beta, the above muscle, okay, between the adductor magnus and the vastus medialis, this muscle, it is adductor brevis. adductor brevis का मतलब होता है बेटा शॉर्ट. एक मैग्नस हो गया, एक मैग्नस हो गया, एक क्या हो जाएगा, मैग्नस मतलब बड़ा वाला, ठीक है, बहुत ही लार्ज मैग्नस, और एक हो जाएगा लॉन्ग मसल है तो उसको बोलते हैं एडक्टर लॉन्गस. adductor longus muscle, adductor longus muscle, adductor brevis and adductor longus muscle, adductor brevis and adductor longus muscle. देखो नेम बहुत इजी है, वास्टुस इंटरमीडियालिस, ठीक है, लेटरालिस और मीडियालिस, ठीक है. उसके बाद एडक्टर मैग्नस, ब्रेविस और लॉन्गस. ओके, 6 मसल तो ऐसे ही याद हो गई. फिर आ जाओ शॉर्ट हेड ऑफ बाइसेप्स फेमोरिस और ऊपर ग्लूटियल टिप्रोसिटी पे ग्लूटियस मैक्सिमस होगा. ओके, इट इज आल्सो लाइक फ्रॉम द gluteal tuberosity to the linea aspera तक extension है. I hope this is clear beta. The attachments are clear for the shaft region. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box beta. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if the attachments are clear to each one of you. Yeah, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if the attachments are clear. I hope the shaft region is clear. The shaft region is clear. The upper end is clear. I have already discussed the upper end in detail. Right now, coming on to the lower end beta. Coming on to the lower end of the femur. I will be discussing other parts also. The lower end of the femur. Okay. So remember beta. Okay, the lower end of the femur. Yes, Jinal, Ash, Harsh, Kiran, Jainam, very good beta. Very good. Yeah, the lower end of the femur. Yes, the lower end of the femur. So you guys are already aware now beta. Now this is the anterior view. Okay, let us just see over here beta. This is the anterior view and this is the posterior view. Okay, it is the popliteal surface. देखो अब ध्यान से देखना बेटा, लीनिया एस्पेरा का ये कौन सा लिप है? Okay, I will use some other pens so that you guys are like way easy. So you guys are going to tell me ki which lip is this? You can see one lip over here and one lip over here, and it is enclosing one surface in between that is called as the posterior surface. और इसी को नाम क्या दिया हुआ है? popliteal surface. So you are very well aware बेटा, you are very well aware कि ध्यान से देखोगे तो ये posterior surface है, posterior view है, तो ये medial lip हो जाएगी और ये क्या हो जाएगी? lateral lip. medial lip हो जाएगी, lateral lip. और बीच में देखो lower end of the shaft, ये जो surface है, इस surface का नाम क्या है? popliteal surface. popliteal surface. और इन्हीं दोनों medial lip को हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? medial सुप्राकॉन्डाइलर रिज अभी बताया था मैंने, और लेटरल सुप्राकॉन्डाइलर लाइन और रिज, वन ऑफ द सेम थिंग्स, लेटरल सुप्राकॉन्डाइलर रिज. सो बेटा यू कैन वेरी वेल सी वी हैव द मीडियल कॉन्डाइल. मीडियल कॉन्डाइल देखने को मिलता है. कॉन्डाइल का मतलब क्या होता है बेटा, अगर सपोज ये बोन है, bone it is having rounded projection at the ends, okay, rounded projections at ends, okay, expanded portion of the bone, expanded portion, and that is more like in the shape of round, so that is something which is called as condyle. तो लोअर एंड में आपको क्या देखने को मिलेगा, मीडियल साइड पे ये मीडियल बॉर्डर हो गया, ये लेटरल बॉर्डर हो गया, तो ऑब्वियसली वी विल हैव मीडियल कॉन्डाइल एंड क्या हो जाएगा, लेटरल कॉन्डाइल, एंड व्हाट वी विल हैव, लेटरल कॉन्डाइल. So we will have medial condyle and lateral condyle, right? We will have medial condyle and lateral condyle. Now, condyle के ऊपर वाला पार्ट, condyle के ऊपर वाला पार्ट बेटा क्या होता है, एपीकॉन्डाइल. एपी का मतलब होता है ऊपर, किसके ऊपर, condyle के ऊपर, condyle के ऊपर. So that is something which is called as एपीकॉन्डाइल. तो लेटरल कॉन्डाइल के ऊपर क्या हो जाएगा, लेटरल एपीकॉन्डाइल, और मीडियल एपीकॉन्डाइल के ऊपर क्या हो जाएगा, मीडियल एपीकॉन्डाइल, medial epicondyle, medial epicondyle. So I hope these parts are already clear to you कि बिल्कुल एंड पर अगर मैं फ्लो चार्ट के अकॉर्डिंग चलो अगर मैं फ्लो चार्ट बनाऊं, तो you already know we are discussing the lower end of the femur, the lower end of the femur, and you are very well aware that it consists of two condyles, two condyles, the expanded portion of the bone beta, the expanded portion of the bone. We have the medial condyle and we have the lateral condyle. Medial condyle and the lateral condyle. Okay, condyle के ऊपर क्या होता है, epicondyle. So we have two epicondyles. We have two epicondyles. Right, we have two epicondyles. You are very well aware it is medial epicondyle, and we have the lateral epicondyle, lateral epicondyle, and above these two, yeah, above these two we have two lines beta, two ridges, okay, and you already know we have the medial supracondylar ridge, which is the continuation of the medial lip of the linea aspera, right? Medial supracondylar ridge or line, ridge को मतलब line भी बोलते हैं, and we have lateral supracondylar ridge, supracondylar ridge. So you are very well aware we have medial supracondylar ridge and the lateral supracondylar ridge, right? So yes. Yeah. Now the lateral and the medial epicondyle, okay, the lateral and the medial the condyles, okay, basically if we talk about, if lateral and the medial epicondyle, they are anteriorly, okay, they are anteriorly, basically आगे की तरफ they are fused together, they are fused together, okay, forming articular surface for patella, forming the articular surface for patella, okay, forming the articular surface for patella, and yes, it is also called as the patellar surface, it is also called as the patellar surface. So you already know the lower end of the femur, okay, the lower end, the lower end में भी से भी जो आगे वाला part है, the medial epicondyle, the lateral epicondyle, they are fused together anteriorly, and that they are creating an area in between which will form the articular surface for patella, and that is the patellar surface. It is the patellofemoral joint, okay, patellofemoral joint. You can very well see beta, this is the, yeah, this is the medial epicondyle, and this is the lateral, sorry, this is the medial condyle, this is the lateral condyle, and you can see these two are fused together, and this is the patellar surface. Patella bone will come and attach over here, patella bone will come and attach over here, the patella bone will come and attach over here, right? So this is the patellar surface. Even you can just see it over here. Yeah. Um, yes, this is the patellar surface, the lateral condyle and the medial condyle. Anteriorly, they are fusing together to create a surface for the attachment of patella, and that is it is called as the patellar surface. Patellar surface, right? So even if you can see in this picture also, this is the patella bone, this is the patella bone, this is the tibia, and this is the fibula, and this is the medial condyle, this is the lateral condyle, and yes, the medial condyle will articulate, the lateral condyle will articulate with the condyles of the tibia, and they will form, yes, the knee joint, the knee joint also, the knee joint also. So I think it is very much clear to each one of you. I think it is very much clear to each one of you. The medial condyle and the lateral condyle posteriorly better. Posteriorly, they are separated. Okay, they are separated by a notch. Okay, they are separated by a notch, and that is called as the intercondylar notch. It is called as the intercondylar notch. That is why it is like called as the intercondylar notch. Now, when I say notch, notch is like this. You can see this is the intercondylar notch over here. Yeah. So this is the medial condyle and this is the lateral condyle. Posteriorly, they are forming a fossa. They are forming a fossa that is called as intercondylar fossa, and this fossa has a notch. Yes, this is has a notch, and that is called as the intercondylar notch. Okay, that is called as the intercondylar notch. You can see this notch beta. Notch मतलब एक ये जो U shaped covering है, इसको हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, notch. तो ये हो गया intercondylar notch, intercondylar notch. Okay, so yes, it is the intercondylar notch that you can see posteriorly. So if you can see, this is the fossa, intercondylar fossa, and it is creating a notch over here, and that notch it is called as the intercondylar notch. Intercondylar notch, U shaped as a notch जैसा बनता है, that is the intercondylar notch. Okay, so I hope it's clear to everyone. All the parts are clear for the lower end. Just give me a thumbs up so that I can discuss the attachments also. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box so that I can discuss the attachments as well. फटाफट से एक thumbs up दे दो जल्दी से if it is clear to each one of you. Yeah. चलो आमिरा, किरण, कृति, जीनल, very good बेटा, perfect बेटा. Now attachments लिख लो of the lower end. Okay, attachments. Okay, attachments of the lower end. Yes. Yes. The first one, the lateral condyle and above it, lateral condyle or uske upar, the lateral condyle and above it, basically we have a muscle which is originating, and that is called as the lateral head of gastrocnemius. Yes, lateral head of gastrocnemius. It is originating, origin हो रहा है वहां से, ठीक है, originating. Okay, so yes. Now secondly beta, popliteal surface, popliteal surface above the medial epicondyle. Specifically if we talk above the medial condyle, I would say yes, we have medial head of, sorry, we have medial head of gastrocnemius. ऑरिजिन, मसल एक ही है बट इसके दो ऑरिजिन है. मसल एक ही है बट इसके दो ऑरिजिन है. द मीडियल हेड एंड द लेटरल हेड, द मीडियल हेड एंड द लेटरल हेड. Okay, now we have one muscle that is popliteus. Okay, yes, we have one muscle that is called as popliteus. The popliteus, it arises from the anterior part of the posterior sulcus. Okay, so it is just below the lateral epicondyle, below the lateral epicondyle. Okay, so yes, it is from the anterior part, from anterior part, okay, of posterior sulcus. If you just want to see beta over here, you can see also. Okay, you can see also, right? So we have plantaris beta if it is present. Plantaris if it is present beta. Okay, this is the lateral side and this is the medial side. So yes, plantaris if it is present, it will arise from the popliteal surface. Okay, above which condyle? Lateral condyle, right? We have lateral head of gastrocnemius. Okay, we have medial head of gastrocnemius. Yes, this is the medial head. This is the medial head of gastrocnemius. Okay, just above the medial condyle and the lateral condyle, right? Lateral head of gastrocnemius is there. So yes, popliteus is also present. Popliteus is also present on the lateral condyle and it is just towards the outer side, right? Towards the outer side. Yeah. Sure. I hope this is clear to everyone. This is clear to everyone over here. I hope this is clear to everyone over here. Yeah. Now we have to discuss in the lower end, we have to discuss the ligaments also better. We have to discuss about the ligaments. Chalo, very good, Harsh, Ash, very good बेटा. Ligaments. तब तक पढ़ाई करो जब तक एड्रेनालिन रश ना हो जाए. पूरा दिन घर में खाली बैठे रहते हो. अभी तो फर्स्ट ईयर शुरू नहीं हुआ है ना, मतलब अभी तो क्लासेस शुरू नहीं हुए हैं. तो मेरा मानना ये है कि आप एटलीस्ट 2 आवर्स अपनी सिटिंग कैपेसिटी बनाओ. कम से कम 2 घंटे तो टिक के बैठो जब पढ़ाया जा रहा है तो. ठीक है, 2 घंटे तो बिल्कुल टिक के बैठो जब पढ़ाया जा रहा है. सो रिमेंबर बेटा द लिगामेंट्स. ओके, मीडियल एपिकॉन्डाइल पर. Okay, on the medial epicondyle we have a ligament and I will talk about these ligaments beta. Okay, when I will discuss, yeah, in the further class. Harsh Chainam, very good beta. It is the tibial collateral ligament. It is the tibial collateral ligament. Yeah, remember the lateral epicondyle. The lateral epicondyle beta. It is the fibular collateral ligament. Okay, then we have the capsule of the knee joint. Capsule of the knee joint. Okay, it is attached around the articular surface. Okay, articular surface of lower end of femur. Articular matlab the surface which will form the joint. The surface which will form the joint. So it is capsule of the knee joint. Okay, articular surface of, yes, it is the articular surface of the lower end of femur. Okay, now we have anterior cruciate ligament. Anterior cruciate ligament. Okay, it is posterior part. Okay, it is posterior part of medial surface. Posterior part of the medial surface of lateral condyle. Then we have the posterior cruciate ligament. Posterior cruciate ligament. Okay, it is attached to the posterior. Okay, it is attached to the posterior part of the lateral surface of medial epicondyle. Sorry, medial condyle. Right, so anterior cruciate ligament and the posterior cruciate ligament. Beta, just let us see over here. You can see over here beta कि अगर ये lateral condyle है beta, if this is the lateral condyle, okay, so you can see, yeah, we have the anterior cruciate ligament lateral condyle के आगे present है. ठीक है, और पीछे की तरफ एक ligament present है, that is the posterior cruciate ligament. Okay, posterior cruciate ligament. Okay, posterior cruciate ligament, it is towards the medial condyle. Lateral cruciate ligament, anterior cruciate ligament, it is towards the lateral condyle. तो lateral condyle के साथ आपको anterior cruciate ligament देखने को मिलेगा. Yeah, posterior cruciate ligament will be towards the medial condyle. Towards the medial condyle. Okay. So yes, that completes with the, yeah, that completes the lower end of the femur as well. That completes the lower end of the femur as well. Shaft we have already discussed in detail. Shaft we have already discussed in detail. Now, beta, can anyone tell me? Okay, before like moving ahead, I just want to answer. What is this, beta? What is this which I'm drawing with two lines? Yeah, can anyone label 19 and 20? Complete labeling. 19 and 20. Can anyone label 19 and 20? Complete labeling. I will be discussing ossification and clinical anatomy. So again, 10 minutes you more have to sit. Yeah. 19 and 20 complete. जल्दी से बताओ बेटा. I'm waiting for your answer. ये तो बहुत easy वाला क्वेश्चन है. ये तो लेबलिंग आप लोग को अभी मैंने बताई है. बताओ बेटा, ये कौन सा बॉर्डर है? यस बेटा, 19 बेटा देखो हेड है. हेड हमेशा मीडियल साइड पे होता है और ये क्या हो जाएगी, लेटरल साइड. तो ये वाला जो लिप हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा लेटरल लिप ऑफ लीनिया एस्पेरा या पोस्टीरियर बॉर्डर, और ये वाला क्या हो जाएगा, मीडियल लिप ऑफ लीनिया एस्पेरा और पोस्टीरियर बॉर्डर. यस निकेंदर, वेरी गुड. चिराग, जयनाम, वेरी गुड हर्ष, वेरी गुड किरण, वेरी वेरी गुड बेटा. चलो आई होप कुछ समझ तो आया तुम लोगों को. ये वाले सरफेस का नाम बता दो. ये वाले सरफेस का नाम बताओ जल्दी से, क्योंकि ये वाला सरफेस बना है मीडियल सुप्राकॉन्डाइलर रिज और लेटरल सुप्राकॉन्डाइलर रिज. ये सरफेस का नाम क्या होगा पीछे की तरफ? अभी नाम लिया था इसका, इट विल बी पॉप्लिटियल सरफेस. पीछे पॉप्लिटियल फोसा होता है बेटा, पीछे बिहाइंड द नी जॉइंट वी हैव द पॉप्लिटियल फोसा. तो yes, it is the popliteal surface. Yes, Nikenda, ready. Very good, beta. Chalo, we have already discussed the shaft and all the parts. Okay, the upper end, lower end, and the shaft is done. Okay, so now I wanted to discuss regarding, yeah, the ossifications. The ossifications, guys. So yes, remember, beta. In short, now we will be discussing the femur. Ossification means formation of bone formation. Bone formation. So remember, the femur ossifies from 5 centers. Now there are one primary center. Yes, Kiran, yes, you're right. One primary center, and that primary center, beta, it is situated in the shaft. This is shaft. और इसमें यही क्या है, sorry, this is the shaft and this is the primary center. And we have 4 secondary centers. 4 secondary centers that you have to keep in mind. Okay, the very first one, it is at the lower end. Okay, this is the lower end, which is just marked over here also. The lower end. Okay, the lower end, it appears during 9th month of intrauterine life. 9th month of intrauterine life. It appears during 9th month of intrauterine life. The second one, beta, greater trochanter. Okay, it appears after birth. It appears, yes, after birth. Yes, one for the lesser trochanter also. Lesser trochanter, it also appears after birth, so I'm not copying it. And yes, the head. Okay, it appears after like 1 week after the birth, right? So yes, 1 month. Okay, 1 month. So yes, the head part. So that is like you have to keep in mind the ossification centers. Now it is coming on to the last topic, that is the clinical correlations, guys. The clinical correlations, that is again very important, beta. So let us just remember, there is something which is called as the hip fracture. That is something which is called as the hip fracture or फ्रैक्चर को वी डिनोटेड बाय अ साइन लाइक दिस, इसको बोलते हैं फ्रैक्चर. This is called as the fracture. Clinically, you have to remember when I say hip fracture, it is basically it is the break. Okay, it is a break in the continuity. It is a break in the continuity of the upper quarter of the femur. Upper quarter of the femur. तो इसको hip fracture बोलते हैं commonly. Okay, upper quarter of the femur. Now, how can hip fracture like be caused? So caused is something like it is caused when you, the major cause is like fall. Okay, अगर आप छत पर से कूद जाओ, ठीक है, fall, और ऐसा तो तुम लोग करोगे नहीं, I hope, और direct blow to the side of hip, to the side of hip, कोई रोड ट्रैफिक एक्सीडेंट हो जाए या किसी भी वे से, इफ इट इज अ डायरेक्ट ब्लो टू द साइड ऑफ द हिप, then it can be, yes, it can be like cause this hip fracture. Now this hip fracture beta, it is of three types. It is of three types that you have to remember. We have intracapsular, we have intracapsular, okay, intertrochanteric fracture, and we have subtrochanteric. Now, when I say intracapsular beta, intracapsular ligament, where it is present? Intracapsular ligament, where it is present in the upper end? Intracapsular ligament, where it is present in the upper end? Beta, type in the chat box where it is present in the upper limb. Type in the chat box. हाँ, फटाफट से type करो where it is present in the upper end. Right, I have to open my other phone as well now. My phone is discharged. Yes. Yes, it is in the neck. It is in the neck. Very good, beta. तो obviously बात है intercapsular fracture होगा, तो it occurs at junction of the head and neck part. Okay, within the articular capsule. Within the articular capsule, beta. Yes, everyone is right. Everyone is right. Everyone is right. Now, when I say intertrochanteric beta, okay, it occurs between two trochanters. Occurs between the two trochanters. Okay, and remember beta, subtrochanteric. Okay, it occurs below. Okay, occurs below the lesser trochanter. Okay, or I can say the fracture of lesser trochanter. It is subtrochanteric. Okay, it is subtrochanteric, right? It is subtrochanteric. चलो, दूसरी चीजें जो आपको पढ़नी है, इट इज द शाफ्ट फ्रैक्चर. अगर आप देखें तो ये शाफ्ट है, द शाफ्ट रीजन है. तो देर आर वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ फेमोरल शाफ्ट फ्रैक्चर्स दैट यू हैव टू कीप इन माइंड. ओके, वी हैव द सेकंड पार्ट दैट यू हैव टू डिस्कस. इट इज द फेमोरल shaft fractures. Femoral shaft fractures, beta. Okay, now when I say femoral shaft fractures, remember beta, it is the fracture of the shaft region. It is the fracture of the shaft of the femur. Okay, and it is usually caused by the road traffic accidents. Okay, it is like it requires a heavy force, beta. बहुत ज्यादा फोर्स चाहिए होता है इस फ्रैक्चर के लिए, एंड दैट इज द, yes, that is road traffic accidents that we have to keep in mind. So we have like, yeah, we have different types. The very first one, it is transverse fracture. Okay, then we have oblique fracture. Then we have spiral fracture. It is just like strapes on a candy can. ओके, स्ट्रेप्स होती है कैंडी कैन के ऊपर ना, जो गोल गोल घूमती रहती है, स्पाइरल स्टेयरकेस जैसे होता है. सो दैट इज लाइक दिस स्पाइरल फ्रैक्चर. ओके, वी हैव कम्युनिकेटेड फ्रैक्चर. इसमें क्या होता है बेटा, बेसिकली वी हैव बोन जो है, बोन इज एक्चुअली गेटिंग फ्रैक्चर इनटू 3 और 4 पीसेस. 3 और 4 पीसेस देखने को मिलते हैं शाफ्ट के. 3 और 4 पीसेस देखने को मिलेंगे शाफ्ट के. ओके, So you can just see it over here with a transverse fracture. Okay, you can see it over here, beta. We have this transverse fracture, linear fracture, oblique fracture. देखो oblique कट लग रहा है. We have obliquely displaced. Oblique fracture है और ये दोनों segments जो है आपस में displace हो गए हैं. ठीक है, एक medial side पर है और एक lateral side पर चला गया. एक medial side पर है और एक lateral side पर है. Spiral fracture है. Okay. Then we have the green stick fracture just on the lateral surface part. और comminuted का आप लोग देख सकते हैं. We have like 1 2 3 4 segments, four pieces we can see over here. Four pieces we can see over here, right? So it like divides into this type of fracture. So these are like type of the femoral shaft fractures. And remember beta, one more type, that is fracture of the lower end. Fracture of the lower end, beta. The fracture of the lower end, it is seen in elderly people. Okay, it is seen in elderly people because the bones are weak. The bones are weak. The lower end, when I'm talking about the condyles and that fractures. So yes, it is again divided into transverse fracture, or there can be comminuted fractures as well. Comminuted fractures as well. I hope this is clear to each one of you. I hope this is clear to each one of you. So today we have discussed the clinical correlations, beta. Before ending the session, I want every one of you to give me a thumbs up that you understood the entire bone, like the femur bone today. I have drawn all the diagrams, all the muscles I have shown you guys, okay, with simple flowcharts and diagrams with line diagrams, guys, right? So it's better if like you did it from me, now read it from the textbook also. You will get each and everything better. Ash, Jainam, Kiran, Harsh, Chirag, Kriti, very good, beta. Very good. And yes, thank you for your patience, beta. Thank you for your listening me out. Yes, I I personally believe if you take lectures, okay, on a daily basis and prepare the notes, this will something which will improve your basics and concept, okay, and that's what is needed today, okay. अगर basics clear नहीं है तो बाकी कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है फिर बाद में, ठीक है. So it is very much essential कि बेटा आप लोग हमेशा daily class लें और daily अच्छे से पढ़ें, ठीक है. So yes, goodbye everyone, and we'll meet tomorrow. I'll just see the schedule what I'll do tomorrow. Okay, goodbye.